It's been a busy start to the year 2026. Controversies at home, major international news. But we are also marking this month an ascent to power of several of the Democratic candidates who just won those off-year November elections, including the most prominent progressive to emerge over the past year, Zohran Mamdani, the 34-year-old sworn in as New York City's new mayor, Bernie and AOC playing a role. He delivered an inaugural speech that put working people at its center and also celebrated this city of New York's famed diversity at a time when Trump and others have attacked DEI. And he did it the Mamdani way, spanning everything from his view of growing up Muslim on bagels and lox to something New Yorkers know about, which is having to spend money on overpriced coffee.
Here, where the language of the New Deal was born, we will return the vast resources of this city to the workers who call it home. To love New York is to know that we are the stewards of something without equal in our world. Where else can you hear the sound of the steel pan, savor the smell of sancocho, and pay $9 for coffee on the same block? Where else could a Muslim kid like me grow up eating bagels and lox every Sunday? As the great senator from Vermont once said, what's radical is a system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities.
Mamdani outworked what was the sitting mayor of New York, the one-time political favorite of insiders, Andrew Cuomo, as well as President Trump's effort in the late days of that November countdown to impact the race. Mamdani showed a new energy which some Democrats clearly crave. He had an upbeat, savvy style that seemed natural for a politician so young. He was just 25 years old when Donald Trump was first elected. Those two New Yorkers have very different takes on their swagger, if you want to call it that. When I asked Mamdani during the campaign about 50 Cent's critique of his plans to tax the rich, he gave a policy rebuttal in detail, and then he effortlessly quoted the rapper's classic song, Many Men, a moment that drew headlines like this and went viral. Many New Yorkers noticed when Mamdani walked out at his victory party to a banger by Ja Rule, who was a rival to the aforementioned 50 Cent. And that drew more headlines about Mamdani's shrewd choice of song, given that recent back and forth. And that kind of fighting among New York rappers is something many New York voters know about. That song was an anthem for the city, and it features a classic verse by Yonkers rapper Jadakiss, reflecting on hometown traditions like little motorcycles and the existential question of who remembers us when we're gone. Jadakiss raps, "It's guaranteed you gonna die. You might get missed for maybe 2 or 3 hours until they light they spiffs." Bars. Jadakiss is not just a beloved old school rapper, though. He really embodies a certain kind of brash defense of New York against interlopers or haters or people who front by claiming some New York cred without really living it, living the New York life. In fact, it's a point he memorably made at one rap competition by touting how he's outside. And this brings us back to Mamdani, whose love for Jadakiss was already known, at that inauguration where the new mayor quoted Jadakiss at the inaugural address.
And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the moi, be outside. Because this is a government of New York, by New York, and for New York.
New York, the real New York. I'm outside. I don't live in Miami. I don't live in Colorado. Come to my block and see me. All of y'all know I'll be down there. This is Kiss. I'm outside.
Fact check. True. Jadakiss doesn't live in Miami or Colorado. He is outside. And you can come to his block to D Block. Many New Yorkers know what that means. And now their mayor does too. Big picture, music connects people. It's a common language, especially in a city where a single word or a piece of slang can immediately reveal where somebody lives, how they talk, what they're comfortable with. And more broadly, even still, in our country, music is a language that connects because there are still songs that have the power to remind us we still can be one nation, sharing some affinities, some things we like together instead of only warring over them. Mamdani's a 30-something New Yorker raised on hip-hop. It fits that he reaches for hip-hop's lyrics and references and sometimes its style and cultural swagger. In his younger days, he even made a kind of a funny rap video about showing respect for grandmothers. But if you're watching this, please don't let your particular personal era or genre preferences distract from a much more important broad dynamic here. Politicians have been invoking music as long as there have been campaign jingles. Democrat Bill Clinton tapped the optimism of Fleetwood Mac in his first victorious presidential campaign, just as Republican Mike Lee nodded towards Swifties.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow.
Bruce, some people are just born to run, man.
I think it's a nightmare dressed like a daydream.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine.
Now notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy.
Obama going Eminem there on the campaign trail. Mamdani, for his part, has clearly updated this long-running habit across different types of music in his own New York state of mind. Now, was that a reference to New York singer Billy Joel? Or was it a reference to New York rapper Nas? You know, with music, the interpretation, it's still up to you. And tonight, we will end on that open-ended note.